And we're live. Okay. Amazing. Sarah, welcome to the High Level Help Group. Okay.
Hello.
So nice to have you here.
Hello, High
Awesome.
Level.
So glad we ended up connecting.
Awesome.
So kind of, what we want to go over today is pretty much, you have really rapidly scaled your SaaS to over 100 users. And so when you had kind of told me that you had started, I think what you say in late September, right?
Yes,
Like,
very, very new, but it has just gone. I think,
that
guys,
is
this is the
amazing.
time for SaaS, right? This is the time to start SaaS for sure.
Yes. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, oh, dude, I need to get you on here, and we need to talk a little bit about how exactly did that, because that is just amazing for you to go from 0 to 100, really that fast.
Yeah,
So,
it's been pretty exciting, and we'll share some tips today. Like, I can't wait to share just some of the things I've done. Some of them kind of happened by accident. Some happen because of tricks and tips I've learned from other business activity. But basically, I heard about High Level in August 2022, a whole few months ago. We launched
oh,
in
okay, wow, all
September.
right,
Yeah,
pretty new.
we launched in September 2022,
That's speed.
and yeah, we've got quite a few users in there already, well over 100 actually. So it's been a wild ride. It's so funny, Sam. I made this goal when I heard about this software. I'd wanted to geek out on software forever. It's just always been something that I have wanted for my own,
Yeah.
and I never just really knew how to get in it. So I had this goal, like I got this little post-it note, and I wrote, I want 50 beta testers by December 2022. So this was like in August when I heard of this tool. I thought, I'm going to build my thing. I'm going to get 50 people by the end of December. On the first day I launched it, we had 700 people sign up for the free trial. And I was like, okay, this is a little bit bigger than I planned. We're going to need a bigger bucket. It's just
Oh
like,
my God.
this
Well,
is a thing.
that is insane. So
Yeah, it's been crazy. It's been a wild few months. So I'm looking forward to sharing the wild ride with you guys today, because I feel like I'm still sliding down it with my cheeks flapping
yes.
either side of me, but it's been awesome.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll check in a few months and you'll be at 1,000 or something crazy. But you know what? The first thing I wanted to ask you is, like, what were you doing before High Level? Like, you learned about High Level back in August. You launched in September. You're over 100 users now. What were you doing before?
So I'm actually a qualified educator and teacher trainer. I've been in the education consulting space for well over 15 years. I most recently was the executive director and head of campus for the University of Notre Dame here in Australia, and was the most senior leader of the most remote university campus in the world, which was very fun and exciting. And at the same time as having all of that, I've been running my education business for well over 15 years. So I have actually had a little bit of an advantage in starting this new business, because the SaaS for me has been a product that I've actually added on to an existing business that already has existing users, and I've niched the SaaS tool for me to those particular users. So I primarily teach online course creators, educators, how to build their own education-based online businesses. So anyone who's teaching or coaching, I basically in the past came from the corporate world, doing corporate-based education and training programs, curriculum design and development, and have pulled that into the public space, which obviously with the way that the world events have occurred have dramatically grown that business. But at the moment, I'm sitting at around 200,000 student enrollments are in my courses in 181 countries. I have generated millions of dollars of sales through my own online courses. And so basically, I teach other people those strategies and systems. What I did to make that happen, as you can see behind me, I do it all from the spare bedroom of my outback Australian little country town.
Yeah.
I have 2 little kids as well, so I am a mum. And one of the things that I really like to bring home is that we are so fortunate at the moment to not only be the first generation of the people in the world that can have businesses online. Like, talk about having an advantage, right? But the fact that we can do this from anywhere with an internet connection and a truckload of passion and courage, and maybe a little bit of wildness thrown in, is just amazing for all of us.
Absolutely. So you started this with an audience. That's one of the main reasons why it's blown up just so fast. do you have any like, tips for actually growing an audience, right? Because it seems to be a very important part of like the strategy that you've used.
Yeah, and I think what we need to just remind ourselves sometimes is we always see the end result of people's success and not the 15 years worth of hard work that came before it, right? None of us fall out of the womb with a social media following. None of us, like, I didn't just wake up one day and open my breakfast cereal and ta-da,
Right.
there's a bunch of people on my email list, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely every single one of us start from zero. And I think that's very important for people who are beginning to remember. It can feel so overwhelming when you have like no Facebook page, no website, no tech setup, no social media following. You've got to create all these pages and profiles from nothing, right? I've just had this very humble reminder starting my SaaS business, right? Because yes, although I've had people to market to, I've had to start that from zero with its own zero groups and its own zero pages and everything as well. And so it's been a very humbling reminder, but we all start from zero. And I always want to just reinforce to people, where I'm at now. 15 years ago, I sat there going, I wonder where I'm going to be in 10 years. I wonder where I'm going to be in 15 years. I wonder where I'm going to be in 20 years. I started with knowing that this was going to be a long-term game forever and that I was never going to stop. So please keep that mindset on as well. If you think, you want to have all of the results by tomorrow, you're going to be setting yourself up for some pretty sore times, right? It does take a long time for all of this to happen. So for me, when I started, I had no budget. I don't know if you can tell by my accent. I come from the UK, but I'm currently in Australia. I had nothing. I had no money. I had to borrow a laptop. Right? There was just nothing. I rocked up in Australia, and I'll start from sort of my business really kicked off when I moved to Australia. I rocked up with a suitcase full of bikinis. I had no friends. I had no mobile phone. I had nowhere to live. It was literally me, myself, and I in a whole.
We're gonna make it happen.
Yeah, I've got to make it happen. So for me, I was like, okay, I can't compete against all of these competitors of mine, all these big guys that have unlimited budgets, huge marketing teams, all the strategy, all the consultants. I can't out-compete them in terms of spend, but I can out-help them. And that's why I thought, this is the only thing I've got. What have I got? Be resourceful. What do you have? You have the internet, you have a webcam or a mobile phone, and you have your passion. Passion, guys, is absolutely contagious. The knowledge that you've got, the niche you're going after, is all you need to do is go, I am going to be the most helpful person on planet Earth in my industry, and go out there. Now, you can do this without any money at all. I simply got on social media. I went and found the questions that people are asking. Back then it was a mission because you had to scroll through endless forums to find people's questions, right? Or do surveys. Yeah. Oh my God, it was labor intensive.
Facebook group,
Now you can go to ChatGPT and go, what are the top 50 questions about, right? And it will chuck out 50 questions. You can go to answerthepublic.com and it will show you all the questions that people are asking in your particular field at the moment. And so basically do that, guys. Go to ChatGPT, say, what are the 50 most common questions asked about, and then put in your topic, your niche, your industry that you're working in. Go to answerthepublic.com and say, questions about your field, your industry, your niche, and it will show you what people are asking. And literally sit there and film your answers on video to every single one of those questions. By the time you have answered every single question on there, you are going to be able to help everyone in your field. And it is always, always the most helpful person that wins every time. It's not the guy with the most money. It's not the guy with the biggest team. It's not the guy with the sexiest dashboard. It is the person who is the most helpful that always wins the business. And that is all you need. Wow. So for me, going out there answering questions, so SEO based content marketing, actually, in fact, I didn't even know SEO back then. It was just pure organic marketing. And in fact, some of those blog posts, videos, YouTube videos, as cringeworthy as they are, right? And were back then when I was a newbie, those have gone on. They still, to this day, some blog posts I wrote 7 years ago, to this day are responsible for bringing me in the most amount of traffic to my website. Out of those 200,000 students that I currently have in my courses, only 11,000 of them came from paid ads. The rest are all purely organic content that people go to Google, type in a question about my field, and end up on my content. That is how you dominate an industry and compete with the big boys.
Wow. So that kind of reminds me of like the idea of like the go-giver, right? I mean, you're out there,
Yes.
you're
Love that
investing
book.
time and helping people and answering their questions. And I mean,
Yeah.
now you have 200,000 students who are in your courses because you started off that way when you had nothing. Which,
Absolutely. And yeah, I think it's really underestimated. People I think focused way too much on all these gimmicky strategies. Just be helpful. It's all it takes. It will be you is the person that other people will tag when they see somebody else asking questions about that
wow.
field. They get to know you. So you kind of create this army of referrals people, just because you've done nothing but be kind and helpful. And I make this easy for myself by batch recording this content. Like, in fact, just yesterday, I always have one day a month where I will stand in front of my phone, right? And I will just record 30 videos back to back that will then go out on social media every day for the next 30 days. And of course, each of them mention my software or they mention my courses, and of course, act as a very subtle call to action, but all leading with helpful information so that you become that favorite for people. And it sinks in when they keep hearing it, keep seeing it, they end up coming into your ecosystem at some point.
You know what, you touched on something that I think is really very important, and that is that people are often hyper focused on like the newest like gimmick. You know what I'm saying? If it's DMs, if it's DM ads, if it's this or if it's that, but at the end of the day, the underlying principle is just that you need to help people, right? So regardless of what method you're doing that, I mean, it doesn't really matter if you're just going out there, getting your face out there and helping people out. That's how you're going to start building a reputation. That's how you're going to start building a brand for yourself. And
Yeah,
also,
absolutely.
and another thing that you said earlier that I thought was also super insightful is just like the fact that you have to think about things in terms of the long-term picture. I think we see people who are flexing on social media and, we want to see immediate gratification. But the truth is that what gives you a competitive advantage is your long-term willingness to like put the work in every single day, because you'll have these fly-by-night people who are like here today, gone tomorrow,
Yeah.
Uh,
They are. And this is why I think, it's actually very, very easy to compete. I think we see a lot of people, coming into our world. Remember, we're in a very small, very, very small segment of the universe, and it comes to us all working in SaaS. And we can very easily sit here and go, oh, everyone's doing it. It's becoming saturated. Look how quickly this platform's growing. There's not going to be space for me unless I punch my way through. And we couldn't be more wrong. We really couldn't be more wrong. We are still half of the world. Let's just get this into our heads. Half of the world doesn't even have the internet yet. Go figure, right? We are far from saturated. We're absolutely far from it. And if we can bear this in mind, it's going to be another sort of 5 years before the rest of the world starts getting the internet. We have so much of a head start. We have more potential customers than we could ever even manage. I mean, I'm up for trying, right? But more people are going to keep being born, right? People aren't going to stop creating babies. There's always going to be a new flood of people pouring in. Keep being helpful, keep putting yourself out there. You absolutely do have space to carve a niche for yourself and to be that little niche's most helpful person. And this for me has been one of the keys to the success of the growth of my platform in just a few months. One of the biggest comments I received when I announced that I've got my own course creation platform was, oh my gosh, I am going to move from Kajabi, Thinkific, all these huge multi-billion-dollar IPO platforms, because it's you, Sarah, and we know that you care about us. That was the reason I've had people leave 7-year platforms they've been with, platforms that I have been a registered expert with for 7 years, because it was me. Little bimbo Sarah in her spare bedroom with her bare feet, usually it's crazy slippers, right? Usually it's fluffy socks, can compete with a multi-billion-dollar LMS system. Move aside, boys. It's all about help. It's all about the individual people that you're serving. That is what makes people move from there to you.
Great point for sure. I mean, the thing is like we can kind of get so like scarcity minded that like it ends up kind of compromising our like actual action that we're taking because we're discouraged, right? But at the end of the day, so much of the time that's just in our head. Like, there really is so many people. There are new people being born every single day, and there's a constant influx of people who have problems that need to be solved. So
yeah, I like that you mentioned that, like how scary it is to start anything. I mean, let's face it, our bodies are biologically, psychologically, physiologically wired to protect us from danger. So anything that's unfamiliar, unknown, or that we haven't experienced yet is literally pumping our body with chemicals going, don't do it, stay away, stay safe, stop, like you're going to die. And we have to actually, fight through that. You can't get rid of it. It's not going to be a day when you'll just magically wake up and your body doesn't function like that anymore. I mean, hopefully, but you're the only way to get through this is to just do it in despite of this fear and these worries, because putting yourself on camera, quite frankly, is terrifying. It really, I've got a fly buzzing around in my face right now. It's terrifying, but you have to do it if you want to help people, and you have to help people if you want to be successful. There is nothing more scary than the thought of people coming along and trolling you. The amount of trolls I get. What we do is we focus as people on the one mean person that comes along and says, you speak too fast, you got a funny accent, oh, go and die, right? And we forget about all of the other people that are going, thank you so much for this tip, thank you for sharing this thing. It's scary, but the only way to success is to do the stuff despite the fear. And this is why successful people win, because they just do it anyway.
Yeah, there's I think it's a quote by Dan Kennedy, I think, which is like, if you haven't pissed anybody off, you probably haven't made any money, right? At some point, you're gonna piss somebody off, and you have to understand that that's just a part of this process. And
usually it's for merely existing.
I can't even breathe without somebody being pissed. But it is really scary, being an entrepreneur, and you just have to make that leap of faith. And if you're deciding that you want to be an entrepreneur, then it's time to go all in. You know what I'm saying? You need to go out there and be willing to put your face out there and just make it happen, because absolutely, man, it is a risky thing to do. So you can't afford not to go all in.
It is. And one of the things I always say to people when it comes to the all in thing there is, go all in with your passion, go all in with that long-term goal to, really put your soul into growing something. I always use this analogy of a little seed. I don't know if anyone's ever taken an apple seed, and stuck it in a little pot and put it on the windowsill in the kitchen and waiting for it to grow, right? Probably all did that at school at some point. And what we do, we never look at the seed and go, come on, grow, and hate on the seed because it's growing too slowly. We water it and we tend to it and we move it in and out of the sun, and we go in every day and we're like, oh, it's got a little bit bigger, look at this little leaf coming out, right?
Yes.
But what we do to ourselves when we're not a freaking oak tree by tomorrow is beat ourselves up. It's not growing fast enough, we're not there yet, we're not big, we haven't reached our full potential. You wouldn't shout at the apple seed growing. Give it time to grow. Everything good takes time to grow, right? But with the all-in thing, I do just want to say, don't go all in to the point at which you're risking your financial sustainability. Because I would say personally, you're better off not ditching the 9 to 5. You may be minimizing your hours so that you can use a wage to fund the development of your business, because you are going to need money. You are going to need to, do some marketing. You are going to maybe need to get some help from virtual assistant or some kind of consultant or expert for something, right? You've got your costs for your software membership and fees. So these people that are like, right, screw you, boss, I'm out of here, right? And then suddenly you have all this extra stress on top of the stress of starting a new business. And that's just going to take all the fun and the adventure and the creative expression away from what should be a really enjoyable experience of creating something. I would say to people, don't risk having no money at all because you use your job, use any income you can get to grow this on the side until you are at a point that can replace the money that was coming from a job. Yes. That's just my preview. That's my perspective.
Yes. Probably go all in within the limits of sanity.
I
always think a funny thing that happens sometimes with entrepreneurs. It's like, it's like they're taking an insane gamble and going all in, like putting all their money behind it. Is like, hope this works. Like, don't do that.
Yeah, definitely not. You know, if
when I
you're
say go
dead, you
all
can't
in,
build
all I
anything.
mean by that is, you know, hey, if you made this commitment, you're starting this business, you're starting the SaaS operation, then let's go ahead and let's start getting content created, you
You're
know?
all in with your commitment. You're all in with your dedication. You're all in with that entrepreneurial tenacity of there is nothing that's going to stop me, no matter how long it takes. No matter how long it takes to get that first customer, how long it takes to get my 10th customer, I'm all in on doing everything I can, learning, implementing, analyzing, iterating, and retrying until I get there, even if it takes me 20 years. That's the kind of all in you need to be to succeed.
Absolutely. So that, I think that's just having, you know, strong commitment, you know?
Yeah.
But let me go ahead and bring it to something back related to high level more directly. You said you actually learned about high level back in August. How do you hear about high level?
So actually just through a friend of a friend said to me, I've got this amazing friend. You are going to love her. She's just like you, a techie chick. You're going to love this tool that she's got. So he actually hooked her and I up, and we hit off like a house on fire. Absolutely love her. If you're watching, Maria, hello. So Maria actually came over to my house by introduction from a mutual friend between us. We sat there with a bottle of wine, and yeah, she told me all about this amazing software that she's been able to customize to, you know, provide SaaS. She's gone through more of an agency. I've actually gone more SaaS, but she's operating as an agency. And she was telling me all these things because she was aware of the fact that I was working on setting up my clients. You know, I was providing services, setting people up on Thinkific, Kajabi, LearnWorlds. I focus on that course creation side. I was then having services as one of the active campaign experts, setting people up on that and running people's active campaign accounts. So she kind of saw that I was already using technology and helping people run their businesses and their lives with technology. And she just said, don't you want your own one? And I was like, what? I've wanted my own one my whole life. I was like, here's my manifestation, like, sign me up, take my money. So yeah, she introduced me to High Level, and completely by chance, she said, oh, well, actually, in 2 months' time, everyone's flying to Dallas for the GHL Summit. And I was like, take my money again, I'm in.
Were you there?
Yes, I was there.
I was there too.
I was the one in the horse on the night, on the casino night.
Oh yes. I didn't even say hi to you. I'm so sorry.
So I was like, all right. So yes, I packed a blow up horse and I flew to Dallas, and I just completely fell in love with it. The second I saw this thing, I remember my friend Maria, who introduced me, actually sat down and gave me a demo. And as she was going through, and it does this, and you can do this with it, and you can add this on, and you can make it do this, and you can customize that. I was just there was a swear word every 3 seconds of me just going, what? Oh my God, it does what? I want it all. And yeah, I was just all in, man. It was,
I mean, and especially because, you know, you are working in Kajabi and Active Campaign, and you probably had ClickFunnels or something, you know.
Yeah, all of it. Every single tech thing you can imagine.
Yeah, you're probably gluing them all together with Zapier or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, for you to, that was exactly what my thoughts were too, when I had first like really started to understand what you could do with things like workflows. Before workflows, there was campaigns and triggers. I was like, wait a second. Oh, and I got it. I'm like, okay, yes, this is like going to be totally game changing. So
yeah, and so I kind of saw it. I think the attraction for me was both from my own perspective, running my own business with the tool, but also in what I was going to be able to do in helping my particular customers. Because yes, like you just said, I'm working with these course creators who want to create online courses, and I was having to connect Thinkific to their active campaign. You've got Zaps involved, their Calendly had to be connected. They've got all these different tools and softwares that are building up and mounting up subscription costs, and C, they needed to constantly come back to me when Zaps had broken, and we were having to just constantly keep things tight. Yeah, it's like a snake's wedding, right? Yeah. Nobody got time for that. So, and then I was looking and going, my business is so big that these subscriptions were getting huge. I mean, particularly my active campaign subscription, because obviously the cost of that increases based on the number of email subscribers that you have. Well, I'm sitting there doing the rough calculations and I'm thinking, this is going to be saving me about $20,000 a year in subscription costs, moving to creating my own platform and
Yeah.
having this as a SaaS tool. And so, yeah, for me, that's why it
Not
was
even to
an absolute.
mention the money you're going to make from reselling it.
Well, there we yeah, exactly. It's just a game changer for
Now, did
everybody.
you see it initially? Did you see it actually as a SaaS opportunity, or were you thinking like, hey, for my current clients, I'll bring them on here, or were you like, oh, I'm selling this as my own software, immediately rebranding it, and I'll like that.
Yeah,
What was your
straight
thought?
away. Because for me, yeah, I'd literally been. I'd mentioned manifestation earlier. I'm someone who I know what I want, and I put it out there, and I'm like, I'm gonna go. I need to do this, and it's really interesting because just in that week, as a verified expert with Thinkific and Kajabi, a heap of them had suddenly just changed their pricing on customers. And we're talking, just coming out of the pandemic, people are financially still sensitive. And everyone's just coming to me going, Sarah, what do I do? These costs keep going up on us. And can you start your own platform? Please start your own platform. If you create a course creation platform, I'm coming to you because you won't do this to us. And I'm like, in my head, I'm going, this is my dream. I've always wanted my own course creation platform. I've always wanted my own LMS. So the second I was introduced to this and the demo was taking place in front of me, I'm sitting here going, this is my course creation platform. This is my tool that I can give to my community so that they can create their courses and run their online businesses with the added education and training that I've already got for them, they're already using. Combine my training on how to create your courses and run your online business with now the platform to run it on. For me, this giant puzzle piece finally has come together and
Yeah.
it's just been a magical. I'm so excited about what the next 5-10 years is going to bring.
Absolutely. And I'm wondering, when you first got started, was there anything that was built into these accounts already, or were you just selling pretty much just straight high level? Was there a snapshot, or was it just like,
Yeah, well, so for me, this is I'd already had quite a lot of resources that I could pull in to really customize this for my community of course creators. So because I've been setting up course creation services and all of the tech on all of these other platforms, I had already created automations for like student welcome sequences, student retention sequences, coaching program sequences, any kind of like online course programs, all of the welcome and lead funnel sequences and all of the email copy and everything. I was already selling that, but for ActiveCampaign. So basically for me, I just went, wow, okay, I can pull all of that over, instantly customize all of that for course creators. I've got all this training on how to create your course, how to create a lead magnet for a course, how to create your coaching program, how to create a membership academy. So I've sucked all of that in there. We've got already had website templates for workshop opt-ins and course landing pages, coaching program landing pages, membership landing pages, again, that I had built elsewhere. We just duplicated all of those, rebuilt them all inside the our SaaS version, and boom, straight away we were able to produce a highly customized platform on top of obviously the GHL base for course creators who I was already working with. And that I think is the difference, and why nobody else really is going to be able to compete with me, and why nobody else can compete with you if you're creating these special add-ons that really differentiate what is just a base tool that you customize into something that really is uniquely yours.
absolutely. So I'm imagining that, did you start this with a team of you, or did you have team members who were working with you when you first started?
So my business for my Entrepreneur Academy that's been running for a long time, that has been running with myself and a virtual assistant and a manager who actually just recently left us. So there was 3 of us running that whole business, which was very lean considering we've got 200,000 students. But
Yeah, definitely.
I've got very good systems because it's been running for a long time. It does pretty much run on autopilot. So it's funny, I was sitting there going, I'm so bored. Like I need something new to chew on because this thing is running too smoothly over here. So when we
Printing money too easily.
Yeah, I was like, right, I definitely need to take on a team. One, because obviously I had a huge amount to learn in terms of the platform itself, the customizations of everything. We had no onboarding procedures, we had no help documents, we had no support procedure. Yeah, just so much had to be done. So I went nuts and hired 11 people in the first week. I actually
Oh my God.
flew over to the Philippines. So as soon as I
Wow.
found out about this, I flew over to the Philippines, and I hired 11 people and was like, right, we're all going to sit
We're doing
here
it.
in this hotel. And I just like kept bringing food to the table. I've got some really funny pictures of us sat there in our bikinis at this outdoor table with all these wires and plugs everywhere to fuel our laptops, all these pizzas and food to fuel our bellies. And we just sat there 16 hours a day for a week getting this thing ready, like,
Wow.
ah!
So,
So
so
yeah, we
having 12 people, I mean, that's quite a lot of like people to have on a team. What like
yeah.
were you focusing mostly the having them like transfer the assets over in this initial period of time, or onboarding customers, or what how did that work?
Well, we're down to six now. So not everyone can hack the pace of Sarah. I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm a lot. And yeah, a few people, I have a very, very, very high level of care and passion for my people. I literally love the people I work with as if they're my own family. And I expect that from my staff as well. I treat my staff as if they're my family, and I expect all of us in my community to feel like one big family. If anyone's a douche nozzle, don't spoil the good vibes around here. So anyway, we've had two kind of major projects going on, and one has been migrating my whole world to my own sub account, right? So you can imagine 200,000 students. I've got over 100 courses over in Thinkific. I've got in active campaign hundreds of automations, hundreds of forms and opt-ins. That
Awesome.
has been a full-time job for the last 2.5 months for 3 full-time people, just migrating all of my courses over. But it's going to save me 20 grand a year for the rest of my life, so it's worth it. And the other side of the team have been focusing on working with me on creating all of the onboarding processes and managing support, because support in any business, particularly SaaS, I believe is the number one key to success. It's the number one key to getting people on it and having a good first impression from the beginning, which is what makes them decide whether they're going to stay or not, and is then what maintains them and retains that customer in the sort of ongoing for the rest of time. And it's the number one complaint I see in all other software companies. The number one thing that makes people leave and upsets them is support, not having their questions answered, not having information available, not having a human at the end of that question or that need that they have.
Yeah, I think probably I'm guessing about by support you also mean kind of onboarding, because I feel like onboarding is such a huge thing that people kind of just drop the ball on. It's like, listen, I
Yeah.
can give you like a tool that's literally magical, but if you have no idea how to use it, then like it's basically
Yeah.
useless.
It's
Uh,
the most important part of the process, and this is one of the things that we've been working really, really hard on the last couple of months is how do we make sure that the second somebody sees this thing and goes, oh, that looks good, that they are set up, running, fully functioning on the platform so that their business is there. Because let's face it, guys, I don't want this to sound like a trap, because that's not what it is. But the second you've got your business on a platform, you're pretty unlikely to then want to go through that whole migration process of moving somewhere else, right? I mean, I've stuck with Thinkific for 7 years purely because it was too much of a mission to move somewhere else. I'm sort of going with the mindset of the quicker I can get people on the platform, the quicker it's going to be that they're never going to want to leave. A, because the software is amazing, but B, because if they're up and running, it's going to be good. So we've focused on how can we do that as fast as possible, and how can we do that so that all the hard work is taken away from them, that they are literally set up. So I spent the first couple of weeks learning everything about the platform, like everything. I sucked it all up like a sponge, and luckily there was a lot of similarities from other softwares that I got used to using, so it was quite easy and quick for me to pick up. I filmed an entire online course on how to use every single feature on the base GHL platform. I think I've got about 70 videos, maybe 80 videos, all filmed inside an online course that's completely free of charge, that everyone automatically gets the second they sign up. And I've thrown that all up on YouTube. So if you do type in Tekmatix on YouTube, you'll find all of the tutorial videos on there. But we didn't want people to have to go through that process of learning it all themselves, because quite frankly, it was a lot. I was doing 16-hour days learning all this stuff myself, and I know what I'm doing. So I was like, right, we have to have proper onboarding with a person where a person can take over their screens and do it all for them. Because the longer somebody procrastinates over that, the sooner they're going to cancel their recurring subscription after the free trial. So we have decided to, with the support team that I've taken on board, their job literally is the second someone signs up for a free trial, book in for a 60-minute onboarding call on Zoom, where our team will take over their screens, connect all of their social media profiles, connect their Zoom, connect their Stripe, connect their PayPal, connect their QuickBooks, get the Google My Business connected, pull in their little calendars for them, put in some free and paid appointments for them so they can start making money today. The day they sign up, they can at least start getting paid appointments. Make sure they've got all the snapshots loaded in to show them how much cool, amazing stuff's already been done for them. And my friends, that is how we've actually got a really high conversion and retention rate. Our churn rate is really low for a SaaS product. And I think it's because we have that onboarding at the beginning. And to double back that up, we also have made sure that people get, at any time they want, a free 20-minute call with one of our tech experts. So if anyone's stuck on anything, they can go straight to one of our tech experts' calendars and book a 20-minute Zoom call, 24-hour servicing as well, I'd like to point out, to actually get a real human to come on, take over their screen. So if they're stuck on a link that's not working, they can't connect this funnel to this product, someone will actually do it for them. And this is, again, how you can differentiate yourself from these big boys. I can compete with multi-billion-dollar companies like Thinkific and ActiveCampaign and Kajabi because you can't do that with them. You can do it with Tekmatix. And that is the biggest thing people are commenting on and just going, wow, I can't believe we get a person. Spending and investing that money on wages for people to do that is what I believe will be the absolute part of the foundations of the success that I know we're going to have.
Absolutely. And I had seen that. So it sounds like you do this free 60-minute session and stuff like that. But there was also, if you go to your website, if you go to Tekmatix, you have two different options on there. One is a done for you migration service, and the other one is a done for you setup. So the migration, can you cover kind of like what's happening in this migration? What are you kind of doing there for your?
So I think one of the things you guys need to know, if you're setting up your SaaS businesses, it's quite likely that there will be a large amount of people that are already using other tools. And that's one of our sales pitches, right? Is, you're using all of these other things. It's a snake's wedding. You've got all these subscription costs. Why not come here where everything's in one place for one price per month, right? Boom, sales pitch right there. Secondly, you're able to say, but isn't that a nightmare? Let's just move you all from those platforms. Now, I know from my own experience, the thought of having to take everything from all these other places and rebuild it all somewhere else was so overwhelming that's why I never left Thinkific, right? So we went, okay, this is just a pain, a problem, an overwhelming thing that we can completely take away from people to make moving to our platform an absolute no-brainer. And so that's why I said, right, we're going to do a migration service. So we simply quoted out, a price. If they've got courses, it's this much per course. We will go into your account over in Kajabi or Thinkific. We will download everything. We will rebuild all of those courses for you inside Tekmatix. If you've got email automations, we'll pull all those over and rebuild them all for you. If you've got forms inside your email marketing software, we will rebuild all of those inside your Tekmatix account for you. So all you've got to do, dear customer, is turn up for an hour for the onboarding call so we can connect all your socials and all of your accounts. Then off you go and drink a Mai Tai while we do everything else for you.
Yeah.
Ta-da! Not only has that saved the customer all the work and they absolutely love us from day one, two, we've got an extra income stream in our business as well, because that's an extra cost. So we're increasing what it is that we're earning. And now we're securing those people pretty much for life, because they're not going to want to do that whole migration service again to move somewhere else. So long-term gain, we make no profit really on that migration service by the time I've paid the wages of the staff. But I know that it's what's called delayed profit. That person will probably stay a customer for a very long time. That profit will come back down the line for that individual.
Yeah, I mean, that once you have moved all your assets to one place, I mean, this platform becomes extremely sticky, right? Because now you want to move somewhere else, you're gonna have to move all your assets again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And why would you
that's
do that? Why would you even do that if the platform has everything that you need? So,
it.
I think that makes a whole lot of sense. Now, when it comes to that, so on the onboarding call, are you like then like pitching them this kind of service? Like, hey, obviously we've set everything up for you. Are you going and pitching them like the whole migration on there, or is it just something that's on your website? If they happen to see it, they sign up?
A bit of both. So, in a lot of the outreach that I'm doing, one of the ways that I've been able to pull people in is by doing a lot of demos. Like for me, when it comes to selling SaaS or indeed selling anything, show them, don't tell them. Show, demo, demo, demo. When people can see how something works and they can see what it can do for them and they can see how simple it is, it's easier for them to actually be able to form those neuron connections in their brain that this is actually achievable for me, right? It's just basic human learning principles. And that makes the sale in itself. And the software sells itself. If you show people what it can do, they're in. So both in those demo videos that I'm doing, I always show, here's how you do X thing on Tekmatix and present a feature. Usually at the end of those videos, I'll say, and don't forget to come and grab a free trial, say the website's name. And also we have free onboarding and set up a migration services if you want to come over from somewhere else. So I always mention it kind of in that call to action right at the end. Yes. But we also have created an automation whereby when you do sign up for your free trial, you get an email from us that says, welcome. And by the way, did you know, here's where you can book your free onboarding call. Did you know we can do a setup service for you? Did you know we can get a migration service done for you as well? So in that first initial email that people get, they're actually formally presented with it. We've also created a Facebook group. So we've kind of got pinned posts in there for people to let them know that we can do it for them. But yeah, it's a combination of that ongoing daily marketing. I actually have been, the last 2 months, I've put out a video every single day and some days 2 videos a day demoing the platform. And in all of those instances and the emails they get, reminding them that we can take all that work away.
And just to clarify, are you doing live demos as well as like the pre-recorded videos that you're dropping into your
both? Yeah, definitely both. But I'm also a bit clever with this. Obviously, I'm clever, right? Is you can actually use a platform like StreamYard to live stream pre-recorded videos. So I do a little bit of both. When it comes to the demos, I do tend to pre-record those just in case there's any private information or things that you might need to blur out actually on the screen. Even though we have got demo accounts, I found that YouTube are taking down videos that even have fake contact details on the screen. So yeah, it's been a bit of a pain. So I'm pre-recording those just so I can blur out even the fake contact information so that YouTube doesn't keep taking the videos down. And you can then pop those up on StreamYard and live stream that pre-recorded video. But I also do a lot of live stuff because people love asking questions as they're seeing a demo. So those have been pretty effective. And in fact, the video, the announcement I did of saying, guess what, guys, I've got my own platform. That was a live stream that I did. I was wearing my pajamas on the bottom, some big fluffy socks. And it was just a live stream. That's how I got 700 people sign up to the free trial, was doing a live stream in Sarah's style of, this is so exciting. You can get rid of all your subscriptions. You guys know how much I love these other platforms, but this new one I've made is so good. I'm leaving them all. And that was enough to get people to come on over and join in. So yeah, mixing up those lives and that pre-scheduled content, I think is very, very important.
When it comes to the actual demos, do you have like an outline of kind of how you usually go about like going through it? It's like, do you have any like kind of points that you try to make as you're going through it?
Yeah. So go back to questions, guys. Questions. If you want to start ranking and getting your stuff coming up, always think of what question are people asking so that this video I'm doing is answering that question, because these are going to then become your support information, your support materials and your training materials later. I go for education over sales every single time. So I always go, okay, what questions could people possibly ask about this software? How do I make a funnel? How do I do an automation? How do I add a new client? How do I create a course? How do I connect a course to a page? How do I give automatic access? Right, these are the questions people are asking. And so when I open a video, I always open with the question. There's a couple of reasons why. Number one, you're telling them straight at the beginning of the video what they're going to learn. Number two, YouTube understands the first words that you say. In fact, it understands all of the words that you say and actually uses those words to know and understand what the video is about so that it can give you higher search results when somebody goes to YouTube and asks that question. So there's a few reasons why. So I'd always say, for instance, how to create a calendar in Tekmatix. Okay, guys, let's go through and do a quick demo. I get straight to the point in showing them. And I'll say something like, and here's where the sales subtly comes in. You guys are probably using something like Calendly or Acuity to do your calendar bookings. And did you know you could make so much more money in your business if you have people paying you for your time and making appointments? Guess what, guys? You can do that in Tekmatix. Here's how to do it. And then again, at the end of the video, I'll always say something like, don't forget to come and grab your free trial and we can set you all up and you get a free onboarding call. See you soon. Actually, I always say happy teching. So I always I'm creating a tribe. One of my friends actually very jokingly said to me about my Entrepreneur Academy, Sarah, you've created a cult. And I'm like, yes, I have. And that's, this is how movements are made, right? By creating your tribes and your cults. So this is another reason why I was very careful about how I named my SaaS tool, because I wanted people to feel like they belonged to something. And this is why I now call all of my people, because we're Tekmatix, I call all of my people techies. And so I'm always like, what's up, techies, whenever I talk to them. And whenever I finish a video, I go, happy teching. And so I kind of have this thing that keeps people feeling familiar with something. They've all got like a saying, and they all call each other techies now already. I call my staff techsperts. So we've kind of like created.
I heard that earlier. I thought that was kind of
So I created these words and this for a reason, to create a cult, to create a group of people that like fiercely assign themselves to belonging to, right? And this is where, Trekkies, people who love, Star Trek, these people give themselves names. And I was very aware of that after reading a few books. So that's why I was like, going to call
Expert
it
Secrets.
Yeah, experts. I think it was actually, yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to create this cult. So there, my users are going to be called techies. My staff are going to be called techsperts. I'm going to address everyone as hey techies, and I'm going to say everything that you're doing is happy teching because tech is fun. So
I want to pause you for one thing. Go back to a really important point that you made earlier, which is that the way that you're structuring your demo, not only your demo but also the videos that you're doing for your YouTube channel and stuff, you're actually the way you're organizing it around the market research that you're doing at the very beginning. So if you go all the way back to the beginning of this conversation, we speak about trying to find out what their biggest questions are. What are they asking? How can I do this? Like, what exactly do they want to figure out? And then if you're structuring your demo in the way where it's answering those questions, it's just going to start, making light bulbs go off in their head throughout while they're watching this demo. So I really thought that was super brilliant. And then obviously, I think you're totally spot on when it comes to the whole building a kind of a movement thing, right? So, that is one thing that I think that Russell Brunson did really great with ClickFunnels, right? Is he created a really awesome community around him and kind of of the funnel hackers, right? And so similarly, he actually discusses exactly how you can do that in his book called Expert Secrets, which is really good. But I think that's really awesome.
Yeah, and this is where one of the things that I understand, obviously, as an educator and a teacher trainer, is understanding human psychology and human motivation. And Maslow says to us that a fundamental human need is to have a sense of belonging, to feel like they belong to something, to feel like they are part of a community. And so the more you can create that with your business, with your SaaS product, the stickier it's going to be, the more people will not leave. My Entrepreneur Academy, I actually have just looked at my stats recently. It's been running since 2015. My average lifetime customer value for a membership for training is now hit 5 years. My average customer lifetime value, they stick around for 5 years. That is crazy. And I have a churn rate of 3%. Why? Is it because my training's amazing? Obviously. Could they get the answers to those questions somewhere else? Probably. Yeah. Why do they stay then? It's because of the community. It's because they belong to something that feels familiar, that they know. When you walk into a conference, right? When you first walk in, you don't know anyone there and it feels really awkward. You start chatting to a few people at lunch. You usually will spend the rest of the conference hanging around those same people. Why? Because they feel familiar. They make you feel safe. You know where you're at with those particular people. And this is exactly the same when it comes to your businesses and your communities. Create the Facebook group. Make it a place that people depend on going to for the answers to their questions. Get them to get to know each other, because when those friendships build and are bonded, you're making them even more sticky. They don't want to leave you, and they don't want to leave those people who know them either. It's amazing how this tribal, culty sort of sense of building, it really is foundational in getting something to hit a tipping point and to take off and be successful and stay that way for a long period of time. So everything I've learned from running my membership academy for the last 7+ years is really I've really just pulled over and applied the same principles, albeit to a completely different product. But the principles are the same, and these apply to any business in any industry.
Absolutely. So it sounds like what you're saying is that building a community is like a really big part of retention. And
I think so,
one way, and probably one of the most successful ways to do that, is through creating some form of a Facebook group. And then you're saying that you want to try to structure the Facebook group in a way such that there are organic conversations that are happening in the absence of necessarily of you putting content in there, right? Because if you can have if all of the people in your community are making friends with one another, then they're asking questions and getting answers in that community.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, making it focused on helping them and making them feel smart, making them feel empowered over you selling your stuff. So I'm always about, no one wants to listen to a sales pitch. No one wants to watch your video of you promoting your stuff. However, they do want to feel like they are freaking smart. They do want to feel like they are, feeling like they're improving in different ways. And so this is why I always stuff mine full of, here's another way to do this. Here's another way to do that. Here's how you can do X, Y, and Z. And people are like, wow, this is so great. And now I can see people who asked that question 2 months ago are now starting to answer the new people coming in who are asking that question. They have got to a point now where they feel so smart that they're now helping other people in the same community. So this is why it's like, the more you can lead with education, I'm a big person on education. Education sells. The people who educate make the most money. The most helpful people make the most money, because you make other people feel clever. You make other people feel clever, you're going to make them stick around you. I promise.
Absolutely. And so I think there's only really, because we actually have covered quite a lot of topics here. And so first of all, I just want to thank you so much for how amazing it's been already. I just think I just had like one more topic I'd like to go over before we go ahead and close this out. And obviously, you have a huge customer base that's pre-existing from your education business. Do you have any kind of paid advertisements or anything like that going right now, or DMs? I doubt that you have DMs going.
Yeah, but, so great question, because obviously, yes, we do need to. I think that the more streams and sources of leads that you can have in place, the better, right? We're just increasing the amount of opportunities for us to get those clients in, and so we are at the moment just starting to expand that out. We've just started running some Facebook ads, so we've got those going out at the moment. We're just doing testing phase. We're just putting little chicken feeds on them at the moment just to see how they're working, and we've also, and this is something I've never done before and I'm absolutely terrified about, but I've got a lot of trust here. So we've also just taken on board a sales team based in the US as well, who we actually met at the GHL Summit. So that hasn't started. That's really literally just getting started. That partnership is just coming into play. So maybe I can come back in a few months' time and let you know whether that's worked, how that's gone. Because I think one of the things that's really important is, once you've worked really hard to get people on board, it's really important to then make sure that you're converting them as quickly as possible. So the conversation we're having with the sales team at the moment is, can you go inside the system? I've created pipelines for people that started the free trial but then didn't continue and join the subscription and all those different stages that people go through in their customer journey. And we said, right, we want you to make sure that everyone gets on an onboarding call, because we know once we've done that, we've got them in. So the sales team, first of all, focusing on, because we've got a few almost 2,000 people just sat there right now inside the system. And we want those sales teams to focus their hot people, right? They signed up for a reason, to start getting those into onboarding calls. Once that's happened, then they're obviously going to go out and start reaching out to my existing audience that are in my education business, because obviously they are potential hot leads because they know me. Do you know Sarah? Of course you do. You're in her training. Do you want to come on over here to her software? And then from there, we'll start going out and putting into place some cold outreach strategies as well. So that's very new to me. I've never done that before. And I'm very nervous because it's unfamiliar. But yeah, we're put a lot of trust in these guys, and they've got a very good track record. So I'm looking forward to that.
What are your goals by the end of 2023?
So my goal is to aim to have 10,000 users on the platform by the end of 2023. It's a big goal, but why not?
That would be mind blowing. I will have to interview you once you hit 1,000 and once you hit 10,000. Okay.
Sounds like a deal. We're pretty close. But yeah,
let's just check one more thing and see if anybody has any questions dropped in the comments.
Sure, let's do it.
If you have any questions or anything, just go ahead and feel free to drop them. If I don't see a couple things popping up here in the next 10 or so seconds, I'll probably.
And well, look, I'm in the group as well. So if anyone does drop any questions in after watching this, I know some people are probably going to bed at the moment. I'll hang around and I'll answer any questions that come up in the comments in the Facebook group as well. So
Sarah, it has been amazing talking to you.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me. It's a very exciting time. And look, I guess I'll just end with, we are just in a world of opportunity at the moment. It's really interesting that at the beginning of 2020, I literally had just dropped out a baby. He was 8 days old when COVID came and hit. And wow. I had just published an industry report on how I saw the world of online learning changing in the next 5 to 10 years. And what I predicted would happen in 5 to 10 years then happened in the following 18 months because the world got online. We have accelerated people's exposure, understanding of software. People now know that they need it. Literally 2 years ago, guys, we would have to go to B2B, go to corporations and try to get them to understand what this software thing was and why they needed it. We now have a world of people who over the last 2 years have been educated about how important software is. They already know they need it. They already know they want it. They're just in that space of going, which ones do I pick? So we are in a magical opportunity right now. The sale has already been made. You've just got to show them how good your version of your SaaS platform is. And you can only succeed if you don't stop working at it. So good luck.
Amazing. Thank you once again.
Pleasure.